Good afternoon. I'm Molly O'Brien. Thank you for joining us here on GoLocal Live in the Navigate Credit Union Broadcast Center. It is Friday, January 12th. I am pleased to welcome, and I'd like to say thank you for joining us, to Ashante Goler. She is the Political Director of Emerge America. She's joining us via Skype. Hello, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good. So excited to be back. Thank you, Molly.
Yes, so we're pleased to welcome you back. You were in Rhode Island just a couple of months ago, so we're pleased to have you back on the program once again, this time via Skype.
Yes.
So just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the increasing number of women running for politics today and Emerge's role in helping women run for office. So just to fill people in, the mission of Emerge in America is to increase the number of the Democratic women leaders from diverse backgrounds in public office, and the organization has been around since 2005. So Ashanti, you've been involved in politics for some time. Prior to Emerge, you served in many roles at the national level, including serving as political appointee in the Obama administration. So let's talk a little bit today about the dramatic number that we've seen, an increase in number of women running for office on multiple scales. You know, we're talking from the municipal level all the way up to the gubernatorial level. Talk to me about what you've seen over the past year.
So over the past year, one of the things that I tell people is everyone's saying, there's this huge wave of women running for office. But the fact is, this is not a wave. This is absolutely, without a doubt, a movement. Since the 2016 election at Emerge, we've had a huge increase of women wanting to reach out and run for office. Several of our affiliates had to double their class sizes. We just selected women for our 2018 classes, and those classes are full because women know that our voices need to be at the table. If anything that the Trump administration has shown us is that, democracy is fragile. We definitely have seen a huge turn of how our country is run, how our country is viewed globally. And we know that we as the people, we have to stand up and tell people that this is not who we are. And particularly these policies, they're hurting families, they're hurting communities, and women know. It's like our thing is like we want to protect people, we want to make things better. And a way to do that is to run for elected office. 2017 was a great year for women running. I tell people that there's 520,000 elected offices in this country. Men constitute about 75% of them. But now they constitute a lot less, especially after the last election, because you had women running for school board, state house, city council, and this trend is continuing in 2018. So one of the things that we are going to see is women stepping up, stepping out, and basically saying that we need to have our voices heard to make sure that we get our country back on the right track.
And like you said, we're seeing more and more women step up and step out. And in fact, there's numbers to count on this. There's ample research that shows more women are running for office. According to the Center for American Women in Politics at Rutgers University, according to a poll that they did in December, more than double the number of women were running for Congress than at that time in 2015. What is it like for you to see this? Speaking from behalf on your work, you've been involved in politics for a long time here.
It's really amazing, particularly for me, to see women run for Congress, since my first, real job in politics was working for Congresswoman Shelley Berkeley in Nevada. And at Emerge, in 2017, we did regional boot camps because we had this huge demand of women wanting to run for office. But so many of those women were running for Congress, and they were women from diverse backgrounds. They were women from the South. They were women from the Northeast. So we definitely are seeing that women know that the state and local level is important too. But if we do want to stop this gridlock in Congress, we do need to have more women running. And I love to see the support that current women members of Congress are giving to all of these women who want to run for office, who want to join them in Congress. And just overall across the board, I do think it's going to be a trend that we will continue to see. Right now, women constitute less than 25% of Congress. So this again is another area where we need women to put their name on the ballot, and also having other women support them.
Exactly. You talked just a moment ago about how Emerge has become increasingly popular, the programs that you do and the work that you do, mentioning that you had to expand your classrooms and expand your class size. Talk to me just a little bit more about what the numbers have been like in your classrooms and a little bit more about Emerge's programming in the past year or so.
Yeah, so we started off in 2002 just with Emerge California, and it was an idea that our president and founder, Andrea Ducille, had. She just said, I want to recruit and train Democratic women to run for office. And her idea was extremely popular. Emerge America was created in 2005 because women from other states wanted to replicate our program. And our program is super unique. It is focusing on the early recruitment of women to run for office. They say you have to ask a woman 7 times to run for office before she considers it. If it's a woman of color, you have to double or triple that. Is doing an intensive 70-hour training program, because the fact is running for office is hard. Like, we will admit that. If it was easy, everybody would do it. So for us, it's demystifying the process of running for office, but you get to do it in a cohort of like-minded women who have the same goals as you, who have the same ambitions as you, who frankly have the same problems as you. It is a safe space to say, look, my husband's acting crazy about this. What do I do? And the other one is saying, my husband's acting crazy too. And then another one is saying, my husband was acting crazy, but I did this, so he's not acting crazy anymore. Because we also have those concerns that we need to get out. But the best thing that I think about our network is the ongoing support that we give our women. Once they are done with that program, they are connected to the women in their cohort, the women in previous cohorts. They have an executive director, a board of directors, and women all across the country who are rooting for them to run for office and to win. And at Emerge America, we provide them with additional connections and support to organizations that want to donate to women and their campaigns, to organizations that want to endorse women. And as we mentioned earlier, it's making sure that we have that focus on all levels of office. Other organizations, they will probably just focus on doing federal level, but we know that we need women's representation all across the board. To date, we have over 3,000 alums. It's constantly growing. Again, if we want to have a reflected democracy, that includes women, but that is women from diverse backgrounds. And that's what I love about our network is you actually see women in our network who look like America, who are going to be representing their communities. And, I have several colleagues traveling this weekend because several of the affiliates are starting their first day of training for the year. Everyone is so pumped up. And I've just been looking at these women's photos and reading their bios, and it just honestly fills my soul to know that there are so many women out there who are going to be putting themselves out in the public, out in that limelight, taking time away from their jobs, their families, because they want to make sure that their communities, that this country is a much better place. And just in this day and age, I always tell people I am beyond grateful that I get to wake up every day and do this work. It is what sustains me, it's what keeps me going, and it's just such a fabulous time right now to Emerge.
That's exciting news. You mentioned briefly a little bit about your alum and the success that the alum has been having. We saw success by women in Virginia, success of Emerge alumna. Talk to me just a little bit about your success there and how the program worked.
So all of our alums, like overall, women who do the Emerge program, we have a 70% win rate. And we are very excited about that. And, coming off of 2016, going into 2017, all eyes pretty much were on Virginia and New Jersey. And I tell people that after the 2016 election, I no longer see blue states, I no longer see red states. All I see is opportunity. There's opportunity to pick up seats. And we knew that in Virginia, that would be the case. You had so many districts that were being represented by a Republican man, but Hillary Clinton won that district by 5 points or more. That told me that the people in that district, they would vote for a Democrat and they would vote for a woman. So for me, I was like, I need that Republican guy to go. And I'm going to get us a nice Democratic woman. And that is what happened. 9 of those targeted seats, they were flipped by Emerge Virginia alums, and they were all men. So we actually have a graphic that I love so much. It shows all of the seats that were flipped by Emerge Virginia alums, and it's literally men all going to women.
Wow.
But with these wins, they're also historic wins. You have Danica Rome, who is the first open transgender legislator in this country. She's one of our women. You have Hala Ayala and you have Elizabeth Guzman. They're the first Latinas in the Virginia State House. You have Kathy Tran, who is one of the first Asian American women in the Virginia State House. So even in this day and age, these women, they're not only winning, but they're trailblazers, and they're opening the door for other women. And it's funny, we joke now that in several of our states where we have so many of our alums in elected office positions, such as Nevada, Oregon, Maine, Virginia, we actually have the Emerge Caucus, because we have so many of our alums together and they're able to support each other, not only just as another elected official, but also just personally as well. They have those bonds, they have those connections.
Do you think in a time now that seems to be, we could say every day there's always something turbulent happening, and sometimes you feel a bit hopeless. Is it times like these where you see the success of Virginia that keeps people going, that keeps people interested in running for office, or keeps people motivated to push for more?
Absolutely, without a doubt. Obviously, yesterday with this administration, with this president, we had probably one of the most vile just things that he has said, and it definitely shook a lot of people to their core. While we know he was playing to his base to see this, it energized people. And they're just no longer just focusing on, okay, every 4 years we have this president. They know that there are elections that happen every year in this country. And we just constantly see women reaching out saying, I want to run for office, or I know a woman who wants to run for office. I actually love when we see husbands and sons who reach out and are like, will you talk to my wife, my mother, my daughter about running for office? I like to tell the story of after the election in 2017, I was in a Lyft on the way to an event. My Lyft driver, he goes, did you follow that Virginia election? I was kind of like, maybe, because I didn't know where this was going. All I know, this could be like a 5-star rating or a 1-star rating. One of those. But I was like, maybe. And he said, did you see all of those women that won in Virginia? He said, that's amazing. He's like, women are such great elected officials. And he's like, and my daughter saw that. And that's going to mean a lot to her. So overall, even though times are hard right now, we do have to look for that inspiration. And at Emerge, it's January 2018, and we're going to have 258 women on the ballot. And that is going to go up. There'll probably be 300 women running this year, which will be the highest number that we have had in an election year. So even though times are tough, there are still so many great things to look forward to, and it is finding those great candidates and making sure that we're supporting them.
That's a powerful thing, and I'm sure that Lyft driver ended up getting 5 stars after that.
He got a five stars and a nice little note.
That's awesome. Talk to me a little bit about this. Emerge founded in Alabama in 2017. I'm curious to see if you had more women from diverse backgrounds either interested in politics or contacting or reaching out to you after the highly popularized Doug Jones special election in December.
Yes, absolutely. So we're very excited because a huge part of our expansion at Emerge America has been in the South. When I came on as political director, I was very honest that this was going to be a huge focus for me. The fact is, Democrats, we have made a huge mistake on giving up on the South, and I was not going to let Emerge America make those same mistakes. I think Doug Jones' victory has shown that when you do have really great qualified candidates, Democrats can win. And the fact is, there are Democratic women in the South who want to run for office. The fact is, they just need the tools, the resources, and support. And that's why we have Emerge Alabama, Emerge Kentucky, Emerge Virginia, Emerge South Carolina, Emerge Louisiana. I really can't wait until we have the entire South green, on the Emerge map. But there was definitely a huge increase of women wanting to run. But we saw that huge increase, particularly with African American women, because when you do look at the numbers, it really was African American women, and African American men too, that put Doug Jones over the top. Something that I say all the time to Black women is we are the base of the Democratic Party. That is great, but at the end of the day, I'm kind of tired of us constantly voting for everyone else. Why isn't our name on the ballot? We should be voting for ourselves. And that is a trend that we're seeing as well. In 2016 and 2017, we saw more African American women elected to office. And I'm very excited about that. Also in the South, we see lots of Latino women who are running for office as well. So I'm very excited. And, even though she isn't one of our alums, I'm going to give a shout out to, Paulette Jordan, who is a Native American woman who is running for governor. So we are seeing the women from diverse backgrounds stepping up and putting their name on the ballot.
And just like you said, you want to see people on the ballot, people representing us that look like us, right? It's a great statistic to have. Let's talk a little bit about this before we let you go, because I know you're a busy woman. I want to ask you, has anything surprised you about working at Emerge over the course of the past year, whether it's the women that have stepped up, where they're from, or what they want to represent?
I think one of the things that I love the most and that I've seen over the past year is the number of young women who are stepping up to run for office, and they're not waiting to be asked. I love that so much. And I think that is going to contribute to this movement because they're just not waiting for that person to, send them a text message or, hit them up on Twitter saying, hey, I think you should run. They already know that this is something that they want to do. So we're already seeing this next generation of women who want to run for office. And it's something that, totally surprised me. I technically a millennial. I disagree with the ages for millennials, but that's a different conversation. But to see them, at 21, 22, 23, just having such strong convictions and getting out there and running a campaign, I think that's one of the greatest things that I've seen in 2017.
That's amazing. Well, I think we'll leave it at that. Ashanti Goler with Emerge America. She's the political director. If you want more information, Rhode Island has an affiliate, so they're working on getting that up and running. So you can, I'll put a link on our website for that. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Wonderful conversation as always.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Please hang tight here on Go Local Live as we get set up for our next guest. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us here on GoLocal Live, the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm pleased to welcome Lucy Krieger. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Thanks so much for joining us. Lucy is the co-founder of Rhode Island's first kombucha producer and brewer, which is super exciting.
Yes, yeah, very exciting.
Awesome. Luluna. So we have a few here today, so we're going to show you what it is, sample, and talk all about the business, what it was like kickstarting it. You are based in Pawtucket, which is awesome. So Lucy, tell me a little bit about how you got into kombucha and how you brought forth this business.
Sure. So I love kombucha. I drink it all the time. I started brewing it years back. I was brewing it for myself. My sisters, my friends requested some, so it's been a lot of years fine-tuning recipes, ratios, so that's where we started, is in the homebrew side of it, how a lot of it always starts. And then we moved to the mainland. We started out on Block Island. We moved to the mainland, built out a brewery this past June, so we're there brewing kombucha in Pawtucket. It's a beautiful thing.
Which I just think is so fun, so exciting. So people might have seen kombucha in stores, they might have heard people talking about it, but some people still might not know what it is. So talk to us a little bit about what kombucha is, and,
Sure.
and we'll start there.
Sure. So kombucha is fermented tea. It's a probiotic drink. So it's naturally effervescent. There's some fizz in there, and it feeds the good bacteria in your gut. It also tastes really good. So we flavor it with fresh fruit and herbs to create different flavors. So a bubbly tea drink, and really nothing like you've ever had before. So it's a unique first-time experience if you haven't had it.
So let's crack open some of yours here,
Sure.
and then we'll continue there, because I'm like, why would we just let this sit here?
Sure.
And talk to us a little bit about your kombucha specifically, because you're the first to do this in Rhode Island, and your flavors, I think, are a little bit different than what other people might see from other places.
Sure, yeah. So this flavor we have here, this is a mix of fresh strawberries. There's strawberries. It's called Strawberry Fields. Strawberries, sage, holy basil, which is also known as tulsi, and lemon balm. So it has a sweet, like first when it touches your palate, and then an herbal afternote. So it's a nice, sweet, smooth flavor. And our kombucha, you'll notice like a very fresh taste.
Yeah.
And that's because we use, fresh, local, and when it's in season, fruit and herbs. And yeah, so we use the actual fruit rather than the concentrate. A lot of companies use concentrate, so ours has that more smooth, palatable experience, which is great.
And you work to try to make this organic too, correct?
Correct, yep. So everything that we use is organic, down to the tea that's used, the fruit that's used, organic cane sugar is used initially in the first process of the fermentation, and then as well as local. So the spring water that is used is local. It's from New England springs. The tea as well is sourced locally, and we also have a seasonal flavor, and that changes every few months or so, and that highlights what's in season in New England, or whatever you can find in the winter months as well. So right now we have a pear jasmine. Pears are a great winter fruit, and it has a soft floral taste with the jasmine and the green tea, and then the sweetness of the pears. So we always have a rotating flavor on tap at our fill stations to keep the fill station fun and exciting.
I just think that this is so, I mean, I'm kind of addicted to kombucha. Like, I try to not overdo it, but yours is so refreshing and tasty. There we go. I'm just gonna have you come closer to me.
Sure.
I need to hear more about the kombucha. So talk to me just a little bit about, you mentioned the fill stations. Talk to me about how you developed the process, and how people can find your kombucha.
Sure. So on our website, there's a list of our retailers, and it differentiates how it's served at those retailers. So what we have is fill stations, and we chose the route of fill stations is because there's a lot of single-use waste in beverage companies or really any type of food company. So how it works is you go up to the fill station, you choose your size bottle. This is one size, this is 16 ounces. This is a growlette, that's 32 ounces. So you first choose the size, then you choose your flavor. So it's a station where you're filling up the kombucha fresh from the tap. And when you come back to refill it, you're not paying for that glassware again. So you're saving saving money, and you're also saving the environment as you fill up, because you're not using containers over. You're using the container over and over rather than a new bottle each time you drink the beverage.
I think that's great. So let's talk a little bit about how this developed. You said you started in Block Island, kind of doing this on your own thing, and then you've developed slowly, and not necessarily slowly, it seems kind of fast almost, and now you've worked your way through to having your own mill, essentially, this own brewing station in Pawtucket, which is kind of like the brewing spot. Now it seems like in Rhode Island, right? Whether it's beer or it's kombucha, it's kind of the place to be. Talk to us a little bit about what that process was like for you, because you're the first one to do this in Rhode Island. What was that like for you?
It was definitely a tough process, as any small business is, but we stuck to our guns. We know we have a great product, and we just, pushed through. Throughout the process, throughout the years of brewing, we were able to focus on the recipe and all of that. So that was already honed in on and perfected. And, getting it to the masses and getting the fill stations up and running and available to Rhode Island was our next step. So like I said, we built out a brewery in Pawtucket. That was in June. And then it did move very quick from there. So we started out at farmers markets, and actually Pawtucket is home to a great farmers market in the wintertime. It's at the Hope Artist Village, and so we're there every Saturday as well. So we started at farmers markets, and now these fill stations are at markets, cafes. You can find Luluna Kombucha on tap at Bayberry Beer Hall, which is great. A non-alcoholic option, a craft non-alcoholic option, which is so great. So the business has evolved a lot, but in a very organic way. So my partner and I, he's a very picky eater, I would say. And so when he tasted, my kombucha, he kind of pushed me out the door from my job in the corporate world and said, we got to do this. This is the time. So we've had a lot of fun, and we're still having a lot of fun bringing it to everyone. And yeah, it's been a great experience.
I mean, it really seems like that. And you and I talked about this a little bit, just what it's like being a small business and growing within the state and growing within Pawtucket. What's it like being part of a growing business in the Rhode Island community?
Yes, Rhode Island is a very supportive community, especially in the food business, beverages. There's a lot of food businesses, and it's because of these great farmers markets, these incubator kitchens like Hope in Maine and new ones popping up. There's a ton of demand, there's a ton of support, and that's why you see so many companies popping up in Rhode Island. Rhode Island's a tiny state, but the food scene is unbelievable, and I think Rhode Island is very proud of that. I'm very proud to be a Rhode Island food company. So yeah, it's definitely a fun place to start a business.
And you're a Rhode Islander yourself, so
am.
That's always kind of nice when you can be local and you can support local yourself. So you started this not too long ago. You got up and running pretty quickly, and you're doing it. You and your business partner are doing this yourself. Mm-hmm. Talk to us a little bit about. It's 2018. It's a new year. You've kept it to somewhat local so far. What are your plans for? Do you have any expansion plans as we come up through 2018, 2019, looking forward into the future?
Sure. Yeah. So you'll see more fill stations popping up. We're at the farmers markets as well, and I think kombucha in general, you'll see it popping up a lot more places. Hopefully it'll be, a beverage where you can find it in like a baseball stadium, and it's just a healthy option that people enjoy. The palates of people, I think, are evolving away from the very sugary drinks and foods to something more, like kombucha is quite a little sour, and refreshing. So I think that you'll see kombucha in bars more, and definitely more accessible to the masses.
Definitely. Talk to us a little bit about your process, and for people that are still kind of like, oh, I've heard of it, but I don't necessarily know. And obviously, you don't have to give away your recipe, but talk to us just a little bit about your process, because like you said, like you use local ingredients, you try to be all organic, but you said tiny batches, never pasteurized, and never force carbonated. So talk to us just a little bit about what's important to you to make this the best product possible.
Sure. So kombucha is very different. They all vary in batches and brands. So if you don't like it right off the bat, it's good to try a different brand. But how we do it is a lot of kombuchas, unfortunately, they pasteurize their kombucha, and that gets rid of all the probiotics, and that's really one of the main reasons you're drinking kombucha in the first place, is to populate your gut with all these good, the good bacteria. And so we don't pasteurize our kombucha, and we also don't force carbonate our kombucha. So every bubble that you find in our kombucha is natural and created there naturally. So we really try to stick to the authentic way of kombucha brewing rather than drumming it up into something that it's not. So all of our ingredients are fresh, the way it's made is authentic. So it's a great craft experience for kombucha. And they all vary, so it's good to try them all.
Okay, so let's try another one.
Sure.
Well, you still have some of that one left, so this is Strawberry Fields left.
I'll pour you up.
And what's interesting is because there are major, and you talked about the trends on people's drinking trends, moving away from certain things, like the soda industry is changing and evolving, which I find it interesting that there is a mass soda producer that is involved in kombucha, which I read about that today, which I thought was super interesting. And then just different brands have different flavors and different things. Talk to us about how because you personally developed these flavors, and talk to us about how you decided you wanted to develop and you came up with these recipes and then your seasonal recipe as well.
Sure. So the seasonal recipe changes every few months or so. So we're always in the kitchen developing a new seasonal.
Which one is this?
So this one is Element. This is lemongrass, chamomile, peppermint, and lemon. So this is one of my favorites, very refreshing.
Sorry to cut you off, but
no problem. So I forget what we were talking about.
Developing the recipe. But I also want to say some kombuchas, they all, doesn't matter what the flavor is, they all taste the same. You can definitely tell that these are different.
Right. They're all very unique in, what they provide. So I've learned that, at farmers markets, everyone's palate is so different. So each flavor, caters to different palates. Like blue ginger, this one is blueberry lemon ginger, so it has that kick of the ginger in there that a lot of people love. That's one of our most popular ones. So there's different, ones that you can gravitate to depending on what you're in the mood for or what you enjoy.
Is there, because you say you never pasteurize and you don't use forced carbonation, is there anybody that should avoid kombucha or that you think that shouldn't be drinking this?
I would say no. It's always good to try something new. Even toddlers drink kombucha. That's one of my favorite things to see is, little kids running around loving it. There's no one that should really steer clear of it. Of course, if you haven't had it before, I recommend, going into it slowly, drinking probably 8 ounces the first time, see how you feel. Not that anything bad would happen, but you're getting your gut used to this new bacteria. It's very, you see people later on in their life loving kombucha and drinking it all up. You see little toddlers drinking it. So it's really, for everyone, which is a great thing about the beverage.
Okay. So we talked a little bit about that. And then, like we've talked a little bit about too, is that gut health, because sometimes you find ones that are really sugary with like a lot of sugar content, and then also with the forced carbonation. Talk to us a little bit about specifically why it's important for you to make sure that you have those probiotics in there and the benefits for gut health.
Sure. So gut health is very important. It's a very big misconception that you should only worry about it if you're later on in your life or if you already have an existing digestive issue. But there's actually more bacteria in your gut than there are cells on your body. So that is, a huge reason right there why you should be taking care of your gut. it influences everything from your immunity, your mood, and a lot of things. So, making sure your gut flora is happy and balanced is something that you shouldn't be, taking care of if you have an upset stomach, but on a daily basis, so you have a healthy body, healthy digestive system.
So really exciting. Congratulations on the start up and continued progress of the Luna Kombucha. You can find it at several locations within Rhode Island, and then we're going to see expansion, like you said, Lucy, for 2018 and beyond. So we're excited to talk to you a little bit about it, so you can look at it, and we'll put a link on our website as well if you're interested in finding them at farmers markets and then at fill stations as well around the city and around Rhode Island. So congratulations to you. Thanks for sharing the tasty beverage. Delicious as always. So please hang tight here on Go Local Live as we get set up for our next guest. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us on Go Local Live in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm Molly O'Brien. Suzanne Komari joins me. How are you?
Hi, good, and you?
Good.
Thank you for having me over. It's such a pleasure being at Go Local Providence. I am very excited. I've never done this before. That's my first time, and I'm very excited and looking forward to it.
We're going to have some fun. So Suzanne is the owner of Este Bridal. It's a bridal shop in East Greenwich, and I love the name Este. Tell me a little bit why you picked it.
Este, it's a French name. It means a star, and knowing and understanding how important the bride is on her, she is gonna look on her wedding day. She's gonna feel and look like a star. So that's why I picked Este. She's surrounded by everyone. She's the star of her wedding. So that's where the name came. It's not my name. Everybody asks me, is this your name? No, that's not my
Suzanne
name.
Este, no, it's not. But you're a star. So this is fun. So it's part of Go Local's Guide to Forever. We're going to talk a little bit about helping you get ready for your wedding. And so Suzanne is going to talk to us about 6 things you need to know when picking out your wedding dress, which is really exciting. So if you're interested in heading to her shop, she's located in East Greenwich, and she also has a website. And your shop is turning 3 years old in April.
Yes, and I made it from scratch, and it was a lot of fun and excitement process for me. And I designed it in a way to have every bride just by herself in my excluded, the whole store is excluded for the bride in my store. She needs the attention, she needs the time, the atmosphere for her to make the right decision, the right choice. It's a big, huge process picking the gown. Like the bride, she always tends to look her best on her wedding day. She does her makeup, her hair, and comes down to the gown. I believe, in my opinion, the gown plays a huge role of how she looks. It's the final touch of the whole thing.
I think so. So we're today going to help you with 6 ways. We were said 5, but then you threw in a bonus one. So 6 ways to help you.
I think the last one is the most important one.
Okay, good. 6 things you need to know when picking out your dress. Okay, so number 1, you said start shopping for your wedding gown 8 to 9 months prior to your wedding day.
Very true. Bridal gowns tend to take longer to manufacture, to produce, and to deliver. It's not like our daily clothes or like Amazon, we have a prime time and all that. So it tends to take longer. They have a lot of details, and they have a lot time to make it. And that's without taking in consideration when the brides want to make any changes to her gown. If the bride, you want to change the neckline, you want to increase, decrease the length of the train, that takes also time. Add bead, not bead, so it takes a longer time to manufacture and deliver the gown. And also the bride have to take in consideration the time for alterations. Usually prior 6 to 8 weeks prior to the wedding, the bride has to start with the alterations, so that takes also a long time. To decrease all the hassle, all the stress, always start ahead of time. And in case, like the bride, she has time crucial and she's tight on time, which it happened last summer. I had a bride 2 weeks prior to her wedding. So there is a solution. But to decrease the stress, the solution is you can buy off-the-rack gown, and that there is an option. And also there is a rush order that some of the designers that offer to expedite the production and to manufacture and deliver it on time for the bride.
Okay, 2 weeks that's close.
Yeah, I get excited actually. Like it's exciting time, but to decrease the hassle and make it a smooth process, just start ahead of time. And wedding gowns is totally different than our daily clothes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's not like you wear a wedding gown and you go to grocery shopping, you know your style. So
maybe we should,
yeah,
right?
I think so.
Maybe we should start make grocery shopping a little more glamorous.
But before we continue, I got you some homemade French macaroons that I offer to my brides to snack on as they're shopping, as they're trying gowns. Hope you like them. But first, are you allergic to almonds?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm an almond. Oh my god. Well, I have to show these now.
Oh.
Okay, so oh my. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Oh, delicious. Okay, well, you'll share one with me after the show, I hope.
Yes,
okay?
we will do that.
Okay, good. All right, so number 2. I think this is really important because you can overdo it, not only on your wedding, but on a dress. You say always have a budget.
Yes, always have a budget set for your wedding gown. Brides out there, whatever you have a budget, whatever you have comfortable to spend on the gown, 500, 1,000, 1,500, 5,000. Just have a budget set and respect that and stick with your budget. There are other costs. It's gonna cost you more money for alterations. You're gonna have other costs. There is a tax that's not on the price tag. And also some other bridal shops, they charge money for bag and delivery. We don't do that at Estee Bridal. But just, it's a hidden cost just to let the bride know. Ask the bridal boutique if there is any hidden fees or anything, just to get more information. And as we were saying, budget always, it's very important. And if you want to save the money, wants to save money, there are other options. You can buy gowns off the rack. They're 60-70% discounted. That's an awesome plus. And also, if you want to save money, go seek trunk shows. Where are bridals that they're hosting a trunk show for a particular designer, so you can save more money on that as well.
Okay. Thank you, by the way, so much. I don't know if I said thank you. I think
Oh,
I was
you
so
did.
excited. I think I was so excited for those. So
My
thank
pleasure.
you so
Hope
much.
you like them, though.
Oh, I will like them. Thank you. And I think it's important too to remember in that budget, whether it's for the gown, remember the alterations, and then consider your accessories too. So shoes, if you want a
True.
veil, belt,
Yes.
earring. I mean, you gotta consider
The whole look. You have to set a budget and stick with it. And I always tell my bride, like, don't ever try a gown that's over your budget. It's gonna be so hurtful if you fell in love with something and then you cannot afford it. It's not right. It's not nice. And sometimes I tell them, if I made a mistake, pull the wrong gown on, that's over your budget, I will make sure make it to your budget and I will eat the cost, because that's not nice. It won't be nice and for the bride. You have to respect her budget.
That's fair. I think that's fair.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that's, and not everybody would do that. So I think that's smart to the way you shop, and you be upfront about your budget, and don't be ashamed about your budget either,
Absolutely.
because everybody's different, and
Very true.
you might spend money, if you're planning a wedding, you might spend more money on food, you
Yeah.
might spend more money on your venue, you might spend more
True.
money on your dress.
Prioritize. I even had one time a bride with a 10,000 budget ended up, believe it or not, a gown for 1,500. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Just have a budget in mind and you might go way under.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So stick to your budget. Okay, I think that's
Yes.
important. All right, number 3, and this is a good one too. Know your body type and focus on your shape, not your weight. And I think that's hard for women. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, like we all come in a different shape, and always focus on your shape, not your weight. There are hourglass shape, rectangle, apple, pear shape, and we all love to be and to have the hourglass shape, but not all of us have the hourglass shape. So if you are in you have a different body type than the hourglass shape, just don't get discouraged. There are options for every body type. There is a gown, different style that flatters and create the illusion of the hourglass shape. We can take a couple of examples if you want to.
Sure.
Like the pear body shape, you can stay away from the mermaid and stick more with the A-line, with the ball gown, and have something like off the shoulder or a one-side neckline to grab the eyes to the top, and stay away from the hips and the bottom part of your body. Or also we can discuss the rectangle body shape. You can wear absolutely easily a mermaid, just you can add a sash, like we were talking about accessories, and that create the illusion of the hourglass shape. And there is also, I believe, the biggest puzzle of the whole, like there are the top, the waist, and the bottom, and the biggest puzzle you have to focus on is the waistline. What kind of waistline you're gonna wear, and which one will highlight your silhouette in a better way, because that's going to be the narrowest spot of your body. And by wearing the right waistline for your body type, that will easily create the balance between your upper and lower body and give you the hourglass shape.
I think that's so great too, is that know what works for your body and go with that. Don't just go with what's on trend, what you're seeing everywhere. Know what works for your body and go with that. And
yes,
and
absolutely.
you make it beautiful.
Absolutely. And you're gonna choose the gown that looks that you're wearing it, not the gown that's wearing you. It's very important.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, number 4. Pin your favorite gowns, styles, fabrics, and keep an open mind to try different styles, which is probably very important. I'm sure you've gotten a lot of pushback on, no, that's not what I want.
Yeah, true. But a lot of them, they come, I'm open. They know now.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Yeah, good. It's good. So it's like I said before, wedding gowns, they're totally different than our daily shopping. We don't know yet what style, what looks good on us, and so forth. So it's like, start pinning, start getting information, start teaching yourself, and you start also learning what you like. Maybe you're leaning more toward the look of the ball gown or more toward the mermaid. So you start learning about yourself more, and by having an idea about what you like, a vision, that helps a lot. Sometimes it doesn't end like the vision that you had in mind, how you're gonna look on your wedding day, that's gonna be the look. But always have an open mind to try different style. Never tried a ball gown before, try one, give it a shot.
Why not?
Mermaid, why not? Long train, short train, experience, discover, and always, always speak up your mind and tell your consultant what you like, what you don't like. I always tell my brides, I didn't make the gown. Nobody's listening. Nobody knows what we're gonna say. You wanna trash it, trash it. Just tell me what you're thinking, what you like, what you don't like. So this will help also to learn, both of us, about each other and herself.
I didn't sew it. It's not my problem.
No.
Okay, number 5. Order the gown based on your current measurements.
Yes, that is very, very important. Like bridal gowns are different. The sizes, they run differently than our daily size. If you're size 4, you might in bridal gowns be size 8. We take measurement and we follow the biggest size. Could be your bust area, could be your rib cage, the waist, the hips. So that predicts your size, but then everything else is gonna be altered to you. Don't get discouraged, don't get hung up like, oh no, I don't want size 8, I wanna take size 4. You're making a huge mistake and making a big, like, taking a huge risk. I had brides, like they would say, I'm gonna lose weight, I know myself I'm gonna lose weight. Sometimes it happens. I had brides, they lost like from 12 to size 6.
Well, good for them.
Yeah, but then we were able to take it in. It's always easier to take it in than to let it out. And I had brides the other way around. They gained a little bit of inches here and there. So don't stress yourself, enjoy it, order the size, your present current measurement, and then everything is gonna be altered to you when the wedding gown comes. You don't need to stress yourself and take guesses and risk. It's not the time or the occasion to risk that.
I think that's a great piece of advice. Okay, so as we start wrapping up here, Suzanne, number 6, pick the gown based on how you feel wearing it. This is my favorite piece of advice.
It is my favorite too. Like, you figured out your style, which one you like. You figured out the gown and everything. It goes down to how you feel. Like, it's when you feel confident, when you feel, feeling confident is pretty. Feeling yourself, being yourself, this is gorgeous. This is where we see the connection on their face, on their body, on their expression, the way they're moving. That's where beauty is, when you feel yourself in what you're wearing. And that's like, it's priceless. You see the connection, like between the gown and the bride and the glowing, the sparkles. It's absolutely amazing. I usually get goosebumps. I'm not kidding. It's very beautiful. You see how she feels, just go with your feeling and how you look. Don't go by other opinions. Your other people, your company, they had their own wedding, they had their chances to choose their own. Your friend, they will have their own. It's your wedding, your day, your style, your personality. Choose something that presents you, yourself, other than being flattering on your silhouette. Just go with what you feel, how you feel, and how you feel confident, and just stay true to yourself. Just don't try to be anyone else.
I think that's so important.
It is.
Don't listen to other people's opinions. I know maybe you want to take here a little bit of chatter, here, there, but go with what makes you feel good, what makes you feel confident. Also think about, like, are you going to be dancing? Are you going to be out walking around? What are you going to be doing? Like, are you going to be on the beach?
Which one is your priority?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe my priority to look great and I don't care about anything else, just go with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like I do
but
have
it's
like
your day.
Exactly. If I have like a bride there look gorgeous in ball gowns and the same body, the same silhouette look gorgeous in a mermaid, but sometimes she doesn't feel the connection with that style, but more she's being herself with the other one. Like, just go with your gut feeling, and this is where you're gonna look your best, when you look good and you feel confident and you see yourself.
That's what you should do.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Just fearlessly be yourself.
I think that's a great piece of advice every day, not just on wedding days, right? Every day. Susanna, it's been such a pleasure to chat with you today.
Thank you. Pleasure is all mine, really. This is my first time and I'm really thrilled. Thank you.
You did great. We love having you. So thank you so much. I'm so excited to eat my treats, so we'll have that and some kombucha. We're wrapping up here on Go Local Live in the Lifestyle Hour. Kate Nagel takes things over with all things news and politics, so she'll be taking over here in just a moment. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a safe weekend. Hopefully you don't get too soggy. So
Can you say go Pats?
Sure. Let's do it. Go Pats.
Go Pats.
Be safe as you watch the game. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you.
Kate Nagel kicks off things